Okay, well, hello YouTube. This is a video talking about the remaster of this album. This was the iconic first album by Kula called K. Well, by far their most successful in terms of record sales album. Contains a lot of their best known hits, such as Tatva, which I think was the first single. It was certainly the one that we got to know them by, and Govinda, which was the names of God being chanted in Sanskrit, and reached number 7 in the UK charts, in amongst Blur, Smashed Out of Their Minds, Oasis, Smashed Out of Their Minds, and a number of other Britpop bands such as the Cranberries and Suede and Ocean Colour Scene and such like. It was a completely different style of music, but somehow or other still fit the mood of the times. Blair, I think, was on his way in. I think it's just before Blair came into power, and for some reason or other, the mood of the nation was such that all these style bands were very popular. So yeah, this is K. This is the limited edition K remaster, and it is strictly limited edition. I don't know whether or not you'll get K15 on iTunes, but you can certainly, if you go to the website and Google it, you'll find that it should still be available. I mean, I got mine last Saturday, I think that came through the post. So, I mean, there'll hopefully be quite a lot done, but I don't think it's being done in sort of limitless quantities. Okay, so it's actually a tin. The cover is etched beautifully onto it. I don't know about etched, but whatever, it's printed beautifully onto the front of the tin. And there's the back cover, as you can see. Opening it up, this is the original booklet. Okay, fold out one. Okay, I don't know how anybody could actually read lyrics going along like that. Certainly does my head in. I much prefer them in nice little columns. But at least it's got a booklet, unlike the stuff that you download off iTunes or anywhere really. Here's the booklet for the new version. That's actually a proper booklet. It's got some extra bits in it. It obviously lists the bonus material that you get, which I'll talk about in a second. Introduction from the band, some lyrics, and thank yous and what have you. More pictures, credits there, more lyrics, pictures, more lyrics. So that's the lyric thing. You get, as well as that, double-sided artwork pictures, 3 of those. I'm not going to show you those in too much detail because I want you to buy it. I don't work for Kula, by the way, just in case anybody thinks I do. And you get 3 discs. Okay, this is the original disc of the original album. Now, I don't normally like albums with bonus tracks on. I think when a group or an artist conceives an album, they don't just chuck the titles up in midair and then fit them in the order in which they land. Oh, no. It's all very cleverly conceived. And in ye olden days, they also made sure that each of the last tracks had about a 10-minute silent gap on it before something else came and, you know, woke you up out of your daydream or whatever, you know. And K was no different. But this has got some bonus tracks on it. it's really supposed to be Hollow Man Part 1 and 2, and then a silent track. But they've actually interspersed, after Hollow Man Part 1 and 2, we have Tatva, the Lucky 13 mix, which is like a dance remix. Into the Deep, which is the John Leckie version. John Leckie produced some of the album, but they got in another producer as well that gave them a slightly rawer sound. And they obviously preferred the non-Leckie version rather than the John Leckie version for the album. So this is his version that's just come out of the vaults, as it were. Red Balloon, which I'd never heard of before, and Hush, which was one of their more famous singles. It was never put onto an album. It's a cover version, and this is the first time that's actually ever been included on a Kula Shaker non-greatest hits style album. You do get a silent track. I was actually out of the room because I'd forgotten about it, and I was actually out of the room when it was on, and it actually sounds like it's a slightly different silent track from what was originally on the album. Okay, so there is the original album. Let's open it up again, and now look. CD folds this way. CD folds that way. This is a DVD of an interview with some of the band members and some mental guy that was like their guru. CD folds over, and here is a live album, and it also contains some demo tracks recorded in various people's living rooms and what have you, which is a fantastic CD, well worth listening to, peoples. All right, I'm now going to go over to Logic Express, where I'll show you a waveform of Hey Dude, just so that I can assess the sonics. I actually assessed the sonics by my ears, by the way, and made my judgment by my ears. So what you're going to see is just really for illustrative purposes. All right? You don't listen to waveforms, you look at them. Anyway, see you later. Okay, so here we're looking at the waveform of Hey Dude, which is track 1 on the album, K. And the top one is the original, the bottom one is the K15 remaster. And you can see that on the top version, there's just enough compression there to make the drums sound rock and roll, basically. It gets a bit denser towards the middle and end of the mix, where it gets busy, and you can see these transients get slightly shorter, but it's just enough really to help you air drum along with it, because drums do benefit from a bit of compression. The bottom version is less compressed. You can see at the beginning the drum hits actually reach 0 decibels, so they actually go to the top and bottom of the waveform. The average loudness levels are slightly lower. The average loudness levels are represented by the sort of thick, sort of grey splodge in the middle of the waveform. And you can see it more clearly here, where it's a denser mix, that's actually a bit quieter. Considering that it was actually done by somebody at Loud Remastering, which is the name of the studios, I think the loud bit means you've got to turn it up a bit louder. Certainly when you listen to the album, it does beg you to turn it up. I did a detailed sonic compare contrast, not with this track, but with Sleeping Jiva and Tatva, which Sleeping Jiva is an instrumental bit played on Indian instruments, whereas Tatva is full-on psychedelic rock and roll. And I actually found that the differences were akin to when I went into Audio T, a few years ago, when I actually bought my amp that I have now, I did a compare contrast with the Rega Mira 3 and one of the name ones, the basic name one, which I think at the time was the name Nate 5 or something like that. The Nate 5, using obviously just the original CD with Sleeping Jiva and Tatva, the Nate 5 felt like the bass and the treble were over highlighted, as it were. The cymbals and things were really zingy, and the bass was very heavy and sort of well present and everything. The Rega didn't accentuate that so much, but it made everything sound really atmospheric. And you could almost, as I've said in other videos, you could almost sort of see these musicians in, you know, in their Indian regalia and everything, and smell the incense as they were playing. Certainly in the Sleeping Jiva track, and so yeah. On the whole, then, the original mix, despite a bit of compression, I actually feel is better. When I listened to both of them side by side on my Rega amp that I've got now, I actually found myself air drumming along to the original mix, and it wasn't a conscious thing. I was just air drumming, and again, subconsciously, I didn't find myself air drumming along with the new mix. There's more to it than just that they've taken away the compression. It actually sounds a little bit drier, less reverb, as it were, and also, as I say, there's been a little bit added to not just the EQ at the top and bottom, but at certain vocal mid-range frequencies where it sounds like they've been given a little bit of extra prominence and slightly divorced from the backing track. It's quite a bizarre effect. Neither of these mixes are bad. If you got either of them, you would be listening to a bloody good album. At the moment, probably because I'm so used to it, and you know, I really know this album, I'm more inclined to prefer the original. But having said that, I'm quite happy to listen to either of them. The live album on K15, there's a bonus CD of live and demo tracks, which is absolutely superb and is great to listen to. So yeah, there's no real sort of disservice being done to the music in either of them, but it's just a slight preference at the moment that the original album, I think I would prefer to listen to on the original CD, just because I know it. But you know, as I say, I'm not bothered. It's a superb album. It's the performance that really matters. And waveforms I only ever use for illustrations. Waveforms aren't music. George Martin never made Sergeant Pepper by analysing waveforms, you know, and you know that sort of goes for, you know, most decent music really. You know, they don't look at the waveforms while they're doing it. They get the performance and they get the sound by using their ears. Okay, all right, well, I'm going to wrap this up now.